Good day, fish tankers. It's a new year and I thought I'd just go through all my tanks again and give you an update from the 75 gallon to the 5 gallon nano tank with the pea puffers here on the bookshelf, all the way upstairs in the house to the 7 gallon cube on my desk that houses my betta among a few other fish, and to my 29 gallon tank. This tank has been running now for closing in on 3 years. And it's a very well developed ecosystem that houses a breeding colony of cherry barbs and diamond tetras, and it's developed into a very interesting tank. If all of that sounds like a good plan to you, then stick around and let's update all my tanks. Well, here we are with the biggest tank. This is this, I call it my 75 gallon tank. It's probably a bit under 75 gallons. My tanks aren't standard sizes bar one. And it's basically a 4-foot tank, but it's higher from bottom to top than your standard. So it has more volume than the average 4-foot tank. That's about your 55 gallons. So it's bigger than that. But here it is. And as you can see, it's got the spiderwood. And I've recently had this huge epidemic of ick and epistylus, and we threw that. There's a different video that I brought out last week about that, but everything is back to normal again, more or less. There you see there's a male honey gourami at the back. Really pretty little fish. I'll do a video on honey gouramis shortly. And let's see what we can find. The rummy noses are back to their normal self. There you see the emperor tetras. And they are breeding like a house on fire. You'll see babies all over the place. There's the big koi angel. She's doing well. And then my favorite here in front, or one of my favorites, hard to pick one, is this Apistogramma McMasteri male. He's quite big for a dwarf cichlid. He's grown quite a bit and he's quite chunky these days. The Vallisneria is busy recovering from all the salt and copper treatments. There, I've got two Colombian redfin tetras left in the tank, and they're ancient. They're closing. They're over 5 years old now, and you can see it's got that sort of back that's becoming bent. And there's some white cloud mountain minnows. I always love the white clouds, and I've got 5 remaining cardinal tetras. That parasite infection played havoc. I lost 10 cardinal tetras. And I'm going to leave a tank for about another month, and then I'll add back more cardinals. There's an otto. There's 7 otto cinclus in the tank. I've also been here for quite a while. And you see the anubias are doing very, very well in this tank. There's a new leaf coming out almost every week. And you'll see you've seen some tiny little emperor tetras there hiding among the leaves. Let's go around and see what we can find. There is a small juvenile male. You can just see there, if you will just turn for the camera. You can see the blue eye and the trident tail fin. He's doing well, and there's the female honey gourami pecking away at the leaves. They really seem to enjoy the Vallisneria that trails across the surface of the tank. We've got an air-driven sponge filter in the tank, as well as a Tidal 55 hang-on back with sponge and matrix in it, and then there's a Sun internal power filter with sponges in it. So 3 filters, very basic stuff, nothing too fancy. And of course, this is a dirted 3-inch substrate swell mixture capped by sand. There you see some emperor tetras again. I've no idea how many emperor tetras I've got here. I know from the originals, I think I've got the old male is still very much around, And then there are, I think, five females, big females, and then there are a lot of fry, some tiny, some almost adults. And that male that you see there, the camera will just focus, was born in this tank. Started off as a tiny little fry, and now he's one of the two dominant males with the original. And there's a third male that I've just shown you there, that's smaller. You'll see his shape is a bit different than the original male. He's sort of shorter bodied and more chunky. Now this Harlequin rasbora has got this white growth on its nose, and it has been there for a very long time, and it doesn't go away. So I'm not sure what that is. Tell me in the comment section if you know what it is. I've got my Siamese algae eaters. It's quite hot here, so the temperature in the tank at the moment, without the heater thermostat being set to it, just the ambient temperature is about 28 degrees now on the water. And there's the other Colombian redfin tetra. I'm not sure if I should add more Colombian redfin tetras or just let these last two live out their lives. Tell me what you think. And here are the clown loaches on a different clip in the morning, because that's all when you see them, when they come out and they know the food is coming. And these clown loaches have been, what you see here, they are decent size, but they're not, I don't think the biggest one is maybe 10 centimeters long. They're quite thick set, but they can grow very big, and then obviously we'll have to move on to a bigger tank. But it took me 5 years just to get them to this size with quite good food, so they are slow growers. And here we have a pea puffer tank, the 20 litre 5 gallon standard American sizes. Also my only low iron white tank with a white glass. All the others are float glass, and it's the one that gives me the most trouble with algae. And you see I took some advice of you guys in the comment section. Thank you for that. I added, there's a bit of a carpet of blue-green algae that I'll just manually remove. But I did slow down the plenum some. That's as slow as I can get the bubbles. And I added some fast-growing stem plants, some water sprite. Thanks for that comment as well. Grophyllite deformis. And you can see the submerged leaves are starting to grow here. Those carrot top leaves. The leaf starts changing into that, and it's starting. That's a good sign. The algae is better, so I'm getting on top of it, but not quite yet, so I'll keep you updated on this tank. But I love the pea puffers. And here we are in my 29 gallon tank. Guys, just take a moment and smash that like button, the thumbs up. I greatly appreciate that. And you can see this is almost 3 years. It's very, very overgrown. I do trim out the Vallisneria. I try to keep them out of the front where the crypts are growing, and try to keep them as much as I can out of the center where that Amazon sword plant is standing. And this is my one tank where I've got Soeswassertang on that spiderwood, and it's grown into a thick sort of a carpet. And the fish do enjoy it, because I have quite a few cherry barbs that's been born here, and a whole handful of diamond tetras. You can see the smaller ones, they were all born in this tank. So the fry survive in that Soeswassertang and in the Vallisneria forest. So every now and again there's a little baby fish. Give me a little burst of joy. I don't know why. And there is a single dwarf gourami. I used to have two, but one just disappeared. If a fish dies in here, you hardly ever see it. It just goes away. Because there's a lot of Malaysian trumpet snails here. We've got nereid snails as well. There's a single Siamese algae eater. There are some Otocinclus. Don't ask me how many. It's impossible. I think there's at least 4. And you can see the big Vallisneria forest. Guys, if you like the content, please take a moment and just share it in your fishy groups. And among your fellow fish keepers, I would greatly appreciate that too, to grow the channel. And of course, we've got the rosy tetras still going strong here. And there's a little cave there, a little dark cave under the roof of Soeswassertang. And that's a nice thing for, there are 3 mature cherry barb males here. And they like to spar, and then sometimes the one that's not so dominant can just go in that little cave. And the dwarf gourami also sometimes likes hiding out there and sitting there. So it's good to have hiding places for your fish. So that is the 29 gallon, and here's the 7 gallon. This is a 30 centimeter cube. I built this myself, hence the atrocious workmanship on the seams. But it's been holding up for years now, and here is my betta. Got it from Chandra Blugnout. You can find her at Apistogramma South Africa on Facebook. And there's a group of 9 ember tetras in here. I find they work out well with a betta, and there's a single nerite snail. If you want nerite snails but you don't want those sesame seed like eggs, your best bet is just to have a single one and hope that it is not a female, because I don't have a single nerite snail egg here. And as you can see, crypts, there's some Verus, which I think is a different species to the ones in my other tanks. The leaves seem to have a slightly different texture. There's some Anubias as well. There's a bit of, I don't know if you can see, there's a bit of Bucephalandra there at the bottom underneath that spiderwood. And all these tanks are very low maintenance. The nitrates are almost non-existent because of a deep substrate and all the plants. So I just do a 50% water change on all the tanks every 6 weeks. And it's not really to keep nitrates down, it's just to, dilute other things that I may not be aware of, like hormones. And I add a bit of alkaline buffer to most of the tanks, all of them besides the big one, because the water is very soft. Well, that's it, people. If you enjoyed this, please remember to subscribe. And I'm going to leave you with a pea puffers feeding, because that's always something to watch. And until I see you again, keep taking good care of those domestic denizens of the deep.